and just get a sense of where people are calling in from. While we are doing that, I'm just gonna go ahead and set the scene. So basically, the topic today is how to reinvent yourself as a PM before you are forced to. So we live in very, very interesting times, right? You know, like layoffs are very common. There's AI. You know, organizations are looking to like flatten the middle, right? So there's all these things going on. What does that mean for the PM, right? So that's sort of, you know, the context, you know, behind this talk. So I am so excited to have Dr. Tony on the show. So Dr. Tony is going to be, we're going to be exploring this topic, and I would love to really get Dr. Tony's perspective. So Dr. Tony, thank you so much for being here. How are you doing, Dr. Tony?
Thank you very much for having me today. I'm doing great. So everything is about the attitude. The attitudes. I'm doing great today.
Nice.
Much better talking to you, talking to all the people that joined this session.
Amazing. All right, I can see Elizabeth. Hello, how are you doing? So I can see. Okay, we are live. People can hear us. All right. So, hi, Mark. How you doing? All right. So, Dr. Tony, for those that don't know who you are, why don't you introduce yourself? Yeah, why don't you do that, Dr. Tony?
Okay. Yeah, so Dr. Tony, I was born in Dominican Republic. Then I moved to Puerto Rico with family. So I developed my professional career between the Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico, mainly in Puerto Rico, because I went there when I was younger. And so a little bit about me. So the universe, I said, the universe, because everything is for a reason. The universe took me into the route of information technology. So I started as a software developer when I was 17. So a lot of people say, well, how? Was 17? Do you have a college degree? No. But I had a curiosity. That's one of the skills that you need to have. Curiosity. I want to learn. And then I developed my career. Sorry. Sorry, I developed my career around the IT and software developer. So I had the opportunity to play basically every role. I was a computer operator. I would work as a data entry, business analyst, project leader. And then I would say the last 30 years of my professional career have been in management. Leading software development team, leading project managers, establishing project management office, establishing methodologies for organization, and teaching, because I've been in education for more than 35 years, sharing knowledge. So I believe sharing knowledge is important. So I have my own company, so TP Global Business Consulting, so that we do consulting. I'm also a speaker, so I like to travel the world, knowing different people and learning from people, not just facilitating my knowledge, but I just get knowledge from the people that I connect with.
Amazing. All right. So now that you've introduced yourself, Dr. Tony, so let's get to the order of the day. Actually, before we do that, I see some people just saying hello in the chat. Hi, Emin. Hi, Mashoud. Hi, Matthew. Hi, Amy. First time, welcome. Hi, Beverly. Hi, Charlene. Hi, Justin. Hi, everyone. So, and hi, you know, those of you that haven't said hi yet. Okay, so Dr. Tony, why does a PM need to even think about reinventing themselves, or should they even think about reinventing themselves?
Yeah, that's a great question. The thing is, we live in a that we call a BUCA, the VUCA time. It's a volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. With that being said, so the world is not static. The world is constantly moving. And that's required for us as a professional to also move with the pace of the changes that are happening around the world. Uh, Economic changes, the workplace changes. There's a lot of shifts, technology shifts. Uh, so that requires that we need to reinvent every day. It's not like, for example, I started my career in 1978. If I still have the mindset when I started in 1978, so I would be that like a dinosaur.
Mm.
I die because I need to evolve. Now we are in the AI era, and that's required that you need to reinvent yourself. You need to scan the environment. So what's going on today in your organization around the world, and constantly learn about different things. So that's me. So I'm constantly learning, reading, observing, talking to people. That means reinventing yourself, so you be relevant for your organization, for your life.
Mm. Mm. So, point taken. So we live in a very VUCA world. Um, Now, some skeptics might say, okay, the same thing was said 15 years ago, right? And the same thing has been said, like, okay, things are changing. Like, why? Let me see if I can pose this question well. Like, or you know what? Let me take a step back. Specifically speaking, what is very different? Like, if we were to take it down, one level, like, what is very different about this time that maybe wasn't different about previous time? Does that question make sense?
Yeah. So I would say, for example, so I had the opportunity, and thanks God for that, because I'm still alive. But I have seen a lot of transition in over 40 plus year working in different organizations, knowing people, looking at different trends and evolution of technology. So I started in 1978. We didn't have internet.
Mm.
1978, we didn't have social media. In early 80s, we didn't have any of those things. The Microsoft, the DOS, for those one that remember, if they are from that time, DOS came around in 1985. So that's when I started the university. So I went to college in 1982. So I have seen that kind of. So what is different? So I ask that question also every day. So what was different? So I trying to go back all my life working, what kind of projects I was working, what was the need of the customers. So one thing that I can say that is different today is the availability of information. The information and huge amounts of information is on your hands now, online, real time. But let's say when I was in college, when I needed to complete a project, so I needed to go to the library
Mm.
and peruse all the books and information. But I needed to go physically and look for things. But now you need want to know anything is on your fingertips. You have the information there.
Mm.
So that was, I would say, in both sides. So now your customers, your employers, your users, they also have the information. So now it's more challenging because before I was the guru. So when I was talking to you, let's say that you are one of my users, my customer, I was gathering requirements. I knew more than you about computers. So they saw me like, okay, you are the guru, so, that you know how to develop software in computer, but that you don't impress that nobody now, because a lot of old people they have ChatGPT, they have the browser that you can get the information from you. So sometimes I don't need you. I have the information myself. So that's one of the changes that I think that it changed everything in life.
Right.
For me, is the democratization of information. Everyone has access to the same information that I have. So what make that I think the big change
Right.
in the world that we live.
And how does that now? So I guess, bringing this to the PM, like what does that now mean for the PM? So we are now in a world whereby like there's a lot of information, and maybe you're even overloaded with information, right? And your customers, your clients, they have access to maybe pretty much the same information that you have. So what does that now mean for a PM?
So that's when the reinvention take most importance, because now that everybody has the access to the same information that you have, and sometimes they have more information than you have. So for the PM required that you need to develop all the skills that make you unique. What we're gonna be the difference from a Mukhtar than Tony? So I need to bring that. What is the value proposition? And that's how we need to do. Because, for example, as I was in the conference last week in Colombia, but I said, AI, if you focus on what you used to do as a project manager, focus on the plans, the scheduling, the risk management plan, scope plan, I said, AI can do that for you. Don't worry. So that's how the decision makers, they will say, I don't need you because I have an AI and he's smarter than you and faster than you and doesn't take vacation. so what the value proposition, why I need to hire you, why I need to hire you in my company. So I have all those technologies. So there's things that you need to stand out, leadership, judgment, think ahead. That's the strategic thinking. And also the desire to help the organization. So you need to become now, so I talked to a friend of mine that he's a professor in entrepreneurship, innovation. So it's like you need to think ahead. So when I talk to you, you are the executives in your company, the decision maker. So I'm gonna bring something that you don't know, and that's when the value comes from. Adding value, that means it's not if you continue doing the same thing like a project manager, so the train gonna pass and you don't gonna notice. So you're gonna get the call on Friday at 5 p.m. and they say, Tony, I don't need you anymore. You place.
Right.
So for project manager, that means that you need to switch your entire mindset how you do things. Being a good project manager, you can memorize the project manager body of knowledge. You can use any tools. So those skills are common. Everybody can do it.
Right. So, Dr. Tony, I want to really, drive this point home, and I want to make it as, what's the word, as concrete as possible. So, assuming we have a PM right now, an IT PM, the PM has maybe 3 to 5 years experience. If they just continue to do things the way they've been doing things, can we play out that scenario maybe for the next 5 years, right? Without changing, because like right now, somebody listening to this, I'm like, all right, I'm swamped. I'm doing a lot of things. I'm just barely trying to avoid burnout. Now you're telling me I need to reinvent myself. Like, all right, I'm just gonna try to just get my work done. Like, what would happen if that person just continues along the same path for the next 5 to 10 years?
Yeah, so burnout is also that you need to work on, because it's and we say that always, it's not work harder, it's working smarter. So you need to be more intelligent about anything that you do in project management. So we have like a different, I would say, different avenue, but we need to be good at all those avenues. Technology changing, so you need to keep with the pace of technology.
Hmm.
AI, so everybody looking for AI. I was talking to a doctor, and he was telling me that 70% of the company, they look that skill in people now. If you want to have a job, the first thing that they're gonna look, okay, let me see if you know AI. So you need to keep developing that knowledge.
Okay.
The other aspect that are gonna make a difference between you and the others is the leadership. So we live in a world that relationship connections are important. So you need to develop those skills. So when you want to be current, so you need to develop, you need to know more about humans. That means emotional intelligence. So I said people when I facilitate the workshop. So there are 37 skills that just learning about emotional intelligence that you're gonna develop. You're gonna develop skill to listen. That is important. You're gonna develop empathy. That is important to connect with teams, because you're not gonna do anything by yourself. You need other people. So those skills are more important than ever in the world that we live.
Hmm.
So, and also the PMI, they put it in the talent triangle like a business acumen. So you need to be knowledgeable about business. So that's going to make the difference between the other project manager and you. So you know about the business, so you master the language of the business. When you have those conversations with the decision maker, they will understand you and you will understand them. So if you work around those things, but as you mentioned, burnout. So I like one of the book that I read it when I was younger, and still I have a copy of that book here. Is the Seven Habits of the Highly Effective People. So the seven habit is sharpen the soul. Sharpen the soul, that means that you need to continuously getting better in everything that you do, better in relationship, better understandable. It doesn't mean that as a project manager you need, because I see a lot of people, so I want to learn Python, I want to learn machine learning. That's not your specialty. You only need to know that those tools exist,
Hmm.
and you can hire or you can have people in your team that have the expertise, because most of the people, they won't understand machine learning. that's that's pure science, but you understand that there is opportunity to create use cases to improve your delivery and to serve better to your clients. So you need to see your employer as a customer, and you need to have that mentality of consultant. So
Hmm.
that's that I said, it doesn't matter. So for me, so I'm 60 plus, uh, but I had the same mindset. So I'm the generational speaking, so I am baby woman, but I had the same in terms of technology, the desire to learn more, discovering things. So I have Gen Z mindset.
Hmm.
So that's like you need to have like that desire to learn, discovering, and the curiosity to see how things works. And always thinking is a mindset. Always think that everything can be better, even your own life.
Right.
So I will say about that book, the habit number 7. So another thing is about yourselves. When we talk, I do a lot of mindfulness. So you need to have your time for yourself that you can see inside you, inside Tony. What is inside Tony? What made Tony happy? What made Tony motivated? What passion? What the passion that you have for something, and you need to find that. And you mentioned the word purpose. What the purpose?
Right.
Yeah.
So Dr. Tony, I think, just to quickly summarize what I'm hearing you say. So you're saying that in order to reinvent yourself, you need to focus on some of these very, I guess, human skills. So like leadership,
Exactly.
empathy, also curiosity, and knowing yourself. And then in addition to that, there's also understanding the business, right? Because at the end of the day, what you're doing needs to have a positive impact on the business and strategy.
Exactly.
One point that I want to get to is, I remember when we were talking, before this call, you had mentioned that you've noticed that employee engagement is low or non-existent, and this is the environment that the PM finds themselves in. Like, they need to lead projects with disengaged employees, and they need to lead those projects successfully. So, and can you maybe talk more about that, and maybe how to navigate this environment? Because I don't know if there was a study that shows that like employee engagement is at the all-time low, and this is the environment that the PM is supposed to operate in. So, what are your thoughts there?
Yeah, so that's when the people skill takes place. And the PMI in one of the side of the triangle is the power skills. Power skills is not like before that name was leadership, but they switched to power skills because there are many. So so what happened in the workplace? I said so. You ask, so what is different? That I would say in the workplace, so we have is multi-generational. Multi-generational. I remember that when I started, 17 years old, so most of the people we were like the same generation, and maybe we have one or two at that time. But now, so precisely one of the conference in Colombia was about that. So we have people that, like me, baby boomer at the workplace. I'm still working, and there are many people like me working. So you have a Generation X, you have millennials, and you have Gen Z. Imagine with diversity also people all together in a workplace, so that makes harder for us to be leaders. So for when I was a leader, it was easy, so I focused more on the chain and command. So I am the boss, so we need to do the thing this way, and people respect the scribes that you have. But today that doesn't happen. So you need to live by influencing. Servant leadership. That's the new language of leadership. Servant leadership. You don't work for me. I work for the team. So I am facilitator. I am here to make your life easier. I care about you. That's something that, for me as a leader, I don't know. I came with that in my DNA. So I always care about people, but legitimate, no faking. Because if you fake it, you're gonna read me and you say, so you don't care about me. Why you say good morning? You care about me, but you need to have that's something that you need to develop. You need to love people. That's the word that I use.
Okay.
And doesn't a lot of people they see that, so it's not that like you are a weak leader. No, the big leaders in the planet and the world are those that connect with people. Are those that connect with people.
By the way, for those of you that are listening, if you have questions, just put them in the chat and we'll get to it. So, Dr. Tony, for somebody that's listening that says, okay, I know about servant leadership, I
Mm,
know about empathy, like I feel like I'm doing all of these things.
right.
Um, like, is there like how do I know that I'm good? Because like almost every job description will be like, oh yeah, we need somebody who's a servant leader, we need somebody who listens, and I
Mhm.
feel like almost everybody will say, oh yeah, I do all these things, but how do you know whether you're good or whether you actually need to really ramp up those skills?
Right. Yeah, definitely. This is a constant learning. It's not like I am martial arts. When I got my black belt, I thought, oh, I graduated from karate, so I am a black belt.
Mhm.
So the grandmaster told me, Tony, you are ready to learn. Now you are ready to learn. You haven't graduated. So the same thing in life is a constant learning, and you need to assess yourself. So one of the we like to talk about, okay,
Because like, so do you think it's important for a PM to be light?
yeah, it's important for the. Well, one of the problems the as a project managers that we have is that we live by influencing. So
Mhm.
we don't have the organizational title that people say you are the one that pay my salary.
Right.
So again, so let's say I'm working for you for a project. So it's Muta. So I want to take my vacation in December 15th. And who you will say, Tony, so talk to John, he's your manager. So we don't live by the title, we live by influencing. And you want people to be with you, but it's the influencing skills. So you need to know how to motivate the people, understanding. And one thing that I learned from banking, there is a regulation called know your customer.
Mhm.
So I use the same thing for the stakeholder engagement. So you need to know your team, you need to know your customer, your people in the company. So it's the same, but knowing means that I know how many kids you have. I know that you keep play soccer. I know that your parent live in. So you need to have information that means caring. So if when you have a situation, I know what's going on. I I have done it with all the people that, and when I leave those organizations, those people say I never had about. So sometimes I get emotional because I do things without thinking, specifically because it's not faking. It's about the heart that you feel and appreciate what these people do for you, because if they are successful, you are successful.
Mm.
So that's what I say about caring, but caring with your heart, that you care really, asking the people to ask also, how your family? No, if you really, are you asking me? Because people, they gonna read you
Mm.
as a human. So we have that skill to read other people. I know if you are a bad person or not a bad person.
Right. So Dr. Tony, i- how about this situation, or maybe somebody who's thinking, um, that, all right, yeah, I get it. Okay, yes, you need to be likable, but that can be taken advantage of, right? Because especially as a PM, when you don't have people reporting to you, and especially, like in many places, the PM role is often devalued, it is questioned,
Mhm.
right? So how can you now bring gravitas? Because there is the risk of, okay, I want, to be liked, but
Mhm.
then there's no gravitas in the role, and people don't, you're not able to effect change, to drive and to lead effectively. So how do you handle that? Does my question make sense?
Yeah. So for me, how that works. Um, so I work with a lot of project managers, leading project management offices. Uh, the thing is, if the people that you work for them, for your team, and you are only note takers, you only checking boxes, so you're gonna lose the respect of the other people. So when they see me walking through the, okay, it's Tony again asking me how I'm doing. That the thing is the attitude. I with people, I said, Muta, there's something that I can help you. And sometimes I figure out, because you need to be observer of what's going on around you.
Mhm.
So it could be a surprise. So I can figure out that you are struggling with something. So I'm gonna go in the right moment and ask you, so how can I help you? There's something that I can help. And be a facilitator. That's the way that you gain trust of your team. The same for the other level. They have problems, but you need to identify
Right.
when they need that help and offer. I always say that my mother said that I didn't have father. My father died when I was 1 year old. But my mother, she always said that all the people say about me, so that kid is different. But the difference is that, how can I help, sir? How can I help, madam?
Mhm.
Man. So it's the can do attitude. And that will help for your team, for your senior leadership. Because a lot of people, they like to have people around them that help,
Right. Right.
that I can rely on you. So that's the a difference that for me
Mhm.
works. And that's life taught me that. I didn't learn that in college or universities. That life had taught
Right.
me that.
Right. No. So that's interesting. So what I'm hearing, like, okay, you know, the PM should try to be liked, but if you just focus on that, you can end up being ineffective, right? But what,
Oh
what
yeah,
you should add to that is solving people's problems, right? So if you're like that, and then you identify somebody's problem and you solve it, like, they can't help but to respect you as
right.
well, right? And I guess, identifying the right problems for people, because sometimes people don't even know what problems they have, right? Sometimes you sort of need to decipher that, or read between the lines and identify the problem, and then solve it. And I don't think anybody would argue about
Yeah.
your effectiveness if you're solving problems, right?
But as a manager and leader, I had the blessing of being many years in that position. One of the skills that people don't develop is the listening skill. But sometimes in a lot of conversation, I didn't do anything. They talking and
Mm.
talking to me. I just listening and knowing. And there's, oh, I got the solution. Thank you. Thank you for nothing, because I didn't do anything. You
Mhm.
did it, but you talking to me, but I took the time to listen. So I'm with you. But listen means that I'm with you. I'm not distracted looking at the phone or looking down. I'm putting attention to what you're saying and looking at you. Okay. But a lot of situations, those people, they say, oh, so I got it. Thank you, Tony. I didn't do anything. I just was listening.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah, no, that's such an important, because I've also found that, like, in my career as well, because a lot of times you hear about listening. Like, I think that this is the thing with these quote unquote soft skills, is like
exactly.
it's very easy to downplay them, to take them
Mm,
for granted.
exactly.
But if you really hone and develop these skills, like it is a superpower. Like,
Mm,
if you can develop your communication skills and you can inspire like a team, like that is a superpower. you know, and I've seen PMs that actually have, without authority, they have more influence than people with authority.
right.
So like your communications and your listening skills, like you just mentioned, sometimes, a lot of times, like the technical people, they don't really have, or many people at work, they don't really have the space to think out loud because it's back-to-back meetings. So
Mm,
sometimes you can just say, okay, you know what, let's just book a one-on-one, let's chat through this. And a
exactly.
lot of times they have the answer, but they just need to think out loud and